27, gone. I mean, that was weird. And the weird thing was that almost everyone that died at 27 was some kind of a world beater. They were people that really mattered. It was a weird situation for people to live fast, die young, and have a good-looking corpse. That's pretty much what it was.
Did like Frank Sinatra and everybody, did they hang out and party with you?
Oh yeah. Well, see, everybody saw our show differently. Salvador Dali comes to the show, and he sees it as surrealism. Groucho Marx comes to the show and sees it as vaudeville. Vincent Price sees it as comedy horror. So I mean, all those guys that were in show business all their life, they were not shocked by Alice Cooper at all. The audience was, but they weren't.
There's a lot of artists right now doing their farewell tours and everything like that. And I just recently saw you with Rob Zombie and stuff, and you were kicking ass still. And actually, you opened up for Motley Crue on their farewell tour, and you blew them away. It's incredible. It's incredible how you are still out there doing it, and these other guys are giving up already. So, and you were there before everybody.
Yeah, quitters. Pretty soon it's just gonna be Mick and me. I'm a lifer. There's certain guys that are lifers. I started when I was 15, and I'm 76 now. And I've never felt better in my life. I get up on stage and do 2 hours and never. I'm the only one not breathing hard.
No, it's incredible. Like what you put into a show. Still, you don't half-ass it at all.
No, our show has always been theatrics, and there's the problem now. The biggest problem is the set list.
Yeah.
Because there's about 12 to 13 songs that you have to do.
Or we'll get mad.
You cannot not do those songs,
Yeah.
And then there's maybe 5 theatrical songs that you have to do, Then it only gives you maybe 2 songs that you can go to all these 30 albums and say, okay, let's shock the audience with that song. Let's do this song, that one. And but it doesn't give us much leeway to we do a new album, we can maybe pick 1 song off that album to go in.
But with like YouTube and everything, we're not getting shocked anymore. So we're just looking at your performance now. Like Broadway shows. Like you were doing Jesus Christ Superstar. That was like amazing. And
well, they always pictured Herod as being this roly-poly kind of dumb guy, where I always thought he should be Alan Rickman.
Yeah.
He should be this condescending villain.
You were.
It's Jesus. And that's why I played it like that.
Yeah. It was awesome.
And it was fun to play, except that on that show, you had 1 take. It was live in front of 1 billion people. And you had to get it right the first time. So that was a little bit different than doing a movie or doing a stage show.
Did you like working with some of those people that were in that cast?
Yeah, oh yeah, I probably had the easiest time because I'm used to working live in front of an audience.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of those people were filmed, people where they could take, let's retake that, let's retake that, let's retake that. You had to do it once and right.
Yeah.
The whole, and there's Weber and Rice right there, the 2 guys that wrote it. Eye level. So you better get it right, That was fun to do.
Did you ever have a favorite performance? I know you were like really famous for like killing that chicken on stage and everything, but did you have
Which I never killed. Okay. Can I tell you the chicken story, please? All right. So, the Toronto Peace Festival, we go on between John Lennon and the Doors. And we open these, feather pillows, and you hit them with CO2 cartridges, and it's a blizzard on stage. And John Lennon's over here, and the Doors are over there going, yeah, this is great. And all of a sudden I look down, there's a chicken on stage. I didn't bring the chicken. Nobody I know brings a chicken to a show. They go, I got my keys, I got my tickets, I got my chicken. And so I looked down, there's a chicken, and we have white feathers. I went, oh. Somebody in the audience brought a chicken and put it on stage. I said, well, being from Detroit, I've never been on a farm in my life, okay? It had wings, it had feathers, it should fly. Chickens don't fly as much as they plummet. So I took the chicken and I went, heaved it out in the audience, and the audience tore it to pieces. The Toronto Peace Festival. The capper to the story is that the first 6 rows were all in wheelchairs. They're the ones that killed the chicken. Threw it back on stage. And next day, Frank Zappa, who produced us at the time, he says, "Did you kill a chicken on stage last night?" And I went, "No." And he goes, "Well, don't tell anybody, they love it." So that's when I realized the audience was looking for a villain. There were all these rock heroes and no villains. There were all these Peter Pans and no Captain Hook. And I went, I will gladly be Captain Hook. And you know, that's where it was really born. That's where the idea of a rock villain that was funny and could deliver the music, but at the same time scare you, you know.
Do you, since you were like the first villain in rock and roll, do you, like, people that are doing it now, how do you feel about that now? I mean,
Well, they're
really
all
doesn't-
friends, you know.
I get that they're all friends, but in the back of your mind, you're like, man, like, that's my gig.
That never bothered me. You know, everybody wanted there to be, when Bowie came on, Bowie used to come to our shows and see the theatrics. And he would say, he'd tell his band, this is what we have to do. And then he became, you know, Space Oddity and all the things. But there was never any, I never saw him as a threat to me. He was doing something totally different. So I liked that. I liked the fact that we had opened the doors to the fact that you could be a theatrical band and make hit records. That was something that never happened before. And, you know, with Kiss, I mean, we told Kiss where to buy their makeup. You know, but they were no shock to us. We knew them, you know. And I told them, I said, don't do our makeup. If you do our makeup, they're going to kill you. So they went with the kabuki makeup. And they were very smart. They did it totally different than we did it, you know.
You know what's also interesting, how you're Alice on stage, but then you have another persona outside of on stage. But like Marilyn Manson and like Rob Zombie, they're always Marilyn Manson or Rob Zombie.
You'd be surprised. Rob Zombie, we toured together. In fact, we're touring together this summer.
Yeah.
He's like my little brother. And I'll have a dressing room next to his. And he's got the worst disco music playing. I'm talking 70s horrible disco. And I'll go and say, what are you doing? You know, and he's going, this stuff gets me up for the show. Really? Every lead guitar, everybody in rock has a different idiosyncrasy. Roger Daltrey fly fishes, practices fly fishing. Peter Frampton irons clothes before the show. So we just throw our laundry in there and just say, finish this up. I throw knives. Yeah, so I have like a knife board there and I throw knives. I'm pretty good. I can put about 20 knives in the area about that big. But that's how I just get ready for the show. And I watch really bad kung fu. I mean, not good kung fu. I mean, I'm talking about not CD movies, you know. And for some reason, that's become my idiosyncrasy for stage. But, you know, Marilyn Manson, all these bands, Slipknot and everything, they all pay tribute. They all say, you know, this is where we
they're
got
very respectful to you.
Yeah, but I mean, that never, to me, that was never a threat to me. You know, we had already done what we did, and we keep doing it. And I always look at it this way: we got to keep doing it better than them.
Yeah.
I'm never going to be. I don't want to be thought of as, oh, let's go see Alice because that would be nice to see this nice old man play. You know, when people say that, I go, I'm going to blow you so far off the stage. You're not even gonna.
No, absolutely true.
Well, I surround myself with the best players. You know, if you look at our band, you know, Anita Strauss and Ryan Rocky and these guys, they're all best friends. And nobody's ever ego. There's no ego going on. There's nobody worried about how many solos you get and all that. Everybody can't wait to get on stage and play the show. Same thing with the Hollywood Vampires.
Yeah.
Johnny Depp, Joe Perry, and myself. We have never had an argument in 8 years. We just get up on stage and play, and everybody you know, and you can tell that we're having fun up there.
Yeah.
And if you don't know, if you've never heard Johnny Depp play guitar, he's a killer guitar player, really a good guitar player.
Yeah. Talk about the Vampires. You told me a story one time about that you were recording with the Vampires at the Foo Fighters.
It was at Johnny's house. Actually.
Johnny's house?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you said there was a special guest that showed up. You want to
So-
tell that story? I don't know if it, you
That's
told me
true.
that story and I love it, so.
It's such a great story because it just shows you it doesn't matter how big you are or how big you think you are. So there's Johnny on guitar, Joe Perry from Aerosmith on guitar. I forget, the room was full of rock stars playing this one song. Paul McCartney walks in and sits down at the piano. And the piano's facing the wall, and we're all over here, you know, and he goes, okay, you guys should do this song. If you want it, anytime coming. I said, okay. So as soon as he turned back around, we all went. We all did. As soon as he turned around, we were all, okay. That, you know. But you're in a room with Paul McCartney. It doesn't get any better than that. And we're all like little kids because he was the Beatle. You know, he was the music. And he's just the nicest guy in the world. If he came to your house for dinner, he'd do the dishes. I mean, that's who he is. And he was immediately a vampire. He's a vampire now. And the funny thing was I said, well, you have to go through the initiation. And he goes, what's that? And I said, well, there's some red vines, licorice. I said, and there's guacamole. You have to dip it in there. And he said, okay. And he goes and he does it. And he says, when did you guys do that? Well, we never did that. He said, you think we're nuts?
That's awesome. There's rumor that you introduced Brian Wilson to John Lennon.
Oh, yeah. Well, Brian Wilson, you know, who is another, there's two guys probably in the business, maybe three, that are considered maestros. I mean, best of the best. Frank Zappa was one. Frank Zappa could direct the Philharmonic Orchestra because he knew more about music than anybody on rock and roll. Brian Wilson. And we're sitting after the Grammys one night, and it's Iggy, myself, John, you know, it's everybody sitting there. And I hear, psst, Alice. And I look around, and it's Brian Wilson. I went, hey, Brian. He says, go over and he says, introduce me to John Lennon. I went, I know these guys have met before. I mean, you know, they've talked about, the Beatles talked about they wouldn't have done Sgt. Pepper had they not heard Pet Sounds. So I went, okay. You know, John, this is Brian Wilson. And John looks at me and he goes, oh, hello, Brian, how are you? Good to see you. He said, you know, I've been a big fan all your life. Oh, thank you. No, he leaves. About half an hour later, psst, Bernie. And Bernie Taupin was sitting there. Introduce me to John Lennon. Bernie looks at me and you know, he says, John, he said, this is Bernie, and this is Brian Wilson. And John goes, oh, hello, Brian. How are you? And as soon as he leaves, he looks over, he says, he's not well, you know. But yeah, I mean, it was very weird, you know. But Brian Wilson, again, you listen to what he's done. He's Beethoven, you know.
Yeah.
He's so brilliant that I think he hears so much stuff in his head that it's almost maddening, you know.
Yeah, I got to work with Brian Wilson one time. It was just a weird experience because he's very quiet. Yeah. And it was just there, and he didn't wear shoes.
Never, yeah.
Never wear shoes. It was cut his nails. It's
Yeah.
just like it was just a whole weird vibe.
Yeah,
you know, always remember that in my head.
His piano in his house, he has a piano, but it's in a sandbox. So when you sit in it, you're on the beach, you know. And he always has Pet Sounds on his 72-track thing.
Yeah.
You can go in and mix it the way you want to hear it. So there's Iggy and I mixing it in there. He was floating, you know, pushing up the dogs, barking and all this stuff. And that's his toy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever write music with like some of your friends like that? Like you're a good, very good songwriter and everything like that. And have you ever just like for fun just sit down and write songs?
When I got out of the hospital, I stopped drinking 41 years ago.
Yeah.
And I came out of the hospital, and Bernie Taupin was my best friend. So him being a lyricist, me being a lyricist, I said, wait until I tell you about some of the people I met. And I said, I want to do an album called From the Inside. And it's about all these characters. So Bernie and I wrote this whole album that was really, really interesting, really good. Maybe the most musical album. David Foster produced it, you know, and it had everybody on it. But every single song was about somebody I had met in there. And of course, we exaggerated them, you know, and everything. But Bernie and I would, you know, it would be, he would write a line, and then I would write a line. And so we would try to trap each other, you know. And he wrote a line that ended in the word orange. And he says, there's no rhyme for orange. I said, really? Because I had a door hinge that was orange. So I left him with month. There's no rhyme for month. I don't care, think about it. There's no rhyme for month.
Is it difficult to write songs with other people, or do you just like doing it on your own?
No, it's fun. It's actually fun.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you're pretty much on the same wavelength as they are. Here's the name of the song. It's called Millie and Billy. Millie chopped up her husband and put him in a thing and sent him somewhere so she could be with Billy. I said, oh, well, that writes itself. You start with the chorus, and then you start reinforcing until you get to the chorus. You know, how did this all happen? And, you know, she's talking about, you know, chopped up in cellophane. Guess love makes you do funny things.
Yeah.
That was the punchline for the whole song.
That's great. Hey, if you guys want to ask some questions out there, anybody want to ask some questions?
And no math, okay?
Please no math.
We did run into because it's the guy watching a friend of mine actually bought it and did that.
Stuff for me when you guys leave. I was like, yeah.
We love your songs.
Remember, today's winners will go home Best Exhibition, $150 cash prize, and a fantastic trophy. Best Craftsmanship, people who have made at least 70% of their costume will go home with $250 in cash and a fantastic trophy. Best Lookalike wins $150 cash and a fantastic trophy. And the Best in Show, the best costume overall judged by the judges, will go home with that amazing custom built by Mohawk Crew. We do have judges pick awards, and that's where the judge wants to give a shout out to somebody who they appreciate the costume and the time they're putting into it. They might not be one of the main winners, but they want to be recognized, so we will have the judges' picks awarded first. Who's playing that creepy music? Zach? Who's trying to play Katy Perry? When I play this, right? When the judges come back in, they are going to give out their judges' pick, and then we're going to give out the winners. And when the winners come on stage, we want you guys to stay and take pictures. And we want everyone to do a big last shout hurrah to the Wyndham for the last year
recognize everybody that participated. Really, really good work.
Round of applause for all the contestants.
So, for my judge's choice, I picked Gretchen Zerella as Pinhead. Gretchen put a ton of work into it. She sewed everything, all those made over 200 pins to go into her head. And I was really impressed by how much work she put into it. So,
A lot of
well done.
craftsmanship.
Yeah, a lot of craftsmanship.
All right, we got you going right there in the center to get your certificate for the judge's choice. All right, Brian, who's your choice?
Alright, my pick is Jess as Captain Wesker, one of my first introductions to horror survival video games with Resident Evil.
I got you coming up to the stage to take a picture right in the center with the judge. One more round of applause for Jess. Nicely done. You head on over there with Pinhead because that makes sense. And Skeet, who is your choice for judges?
All right, for my choice, I'm thinking back to my childhood, things way back then, and things that it's important for a child in rearing to have nightmares because it lets us grow and learn how to fight back and survive. And one of my favorite childhood figures was Winnie the Pooh. So from Winnie the Pooh comes Tigger and Owl, Ashley, and Josh.
And now we know a little bit of her psychosis.
Great work. We got to see all the detail and all those feathers and how they were put together. Thank you all that brought books or pictures on your phones or your laptops or whatever so that we could see the process. Some had binders and everything.
I just noticed as you guys were coming up, you have like an ear hanging off your belt.
You guys want to step right over here?
Animal trophies. There you go. Thank you so much, Judges Pick. And actually, let's get all of you guys back over here for one big group picture of all three of you. All three groups. 1, 2, 3. Thank you so much. That's not a mix you'd see somewhere. All right, those are your Judges Picks. Thank you, guys. We are moving on to the Best Exhibition winner. They get $150 in cash and this fancy spooky Empire trophy. Ooh. Ah. All right, drum roll. Your winners tonight for the Best Exhibition is Barbie and Witch Hazel Myers. You guys want to give us a little detail about why you chose them for the Best Exhibition?
They look really polished, and I just love stupid costumes, and it's just so stupid. It's so good. I mean, I never would have thought of the Barbie movie and been like, oh yeah, of course, Barbie's
Two
boring.
great things that go great together.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
like peanut
that's
butter
a major
and jelly.
compliment, by the way. So great.
Right there in the center, you guys.
He reminds me of a Evil Knievel. Work it.
Nicely done. You guys go ahead and wait over there on the side, please, for all the other winners to join you. Next up, we have our award for Best Lookalike. Best Lookalike goes home today with $150 cash and the Spooky Empire trophy. Ooh. Ah. Drum roll, please. You're a winner for the Best Lookalike today, Gabrielle Adams as Wednesday. Judges, give us your comments.
Again, this costume stitched all of that. It's the detail. The material again? Organza. So the fact that she was able to put all that ruffle in there by hand.
Well, she
just
had an extra
amazing.
hand.
I have a costume background and I'm just in awe. That's more than I want to do.
Nicely done. Thank you so much. Join the Geek Squad over there. And next up, we have our winner for Best Craftsmanship. And this is the person who has made at least 70% of their costume. They go home with $250 in cash and a Spooky Empire trophy. Oh, you guys are trained. I like it. I like it a lot. All right. Drum roll, please. Give a round of applause and welcome One Was Army Cosplay, the Nightmare Nurse. That's right. It pays to have your toes out, y'all. Judges, as she makes her way to the stage, yes? What's your comments?
Well, she can't see, so she probably doesn't even know she won. Oh. Yeah, there's so much detail. Again, she sewed all of this. So this is all stitched and distressed.
I think she serged the seams, by the way. That was very impressive to me. And the distressing just looks great. So, well done.
And she 3D printed, resin printed those buttons.
Alright. Getting fancy with the 3D printing. Nicely done. Alright, so going for the big prize here. We have got the Best in Show. It's a $500 cash prize. This beautiful championship belt from Mohawk Crew that's so light. I mean, you can wear it at the grocery store. It's a great accessory. Not only is this person the winner of the Best in Show today, but this person also won the Audience Choice from May. Give it up for Mystic Cosplay SG!
Give her a hand up the stairs, I mean.
Several hands.
Okay, I mean,
It'll take her a second to back in.
look at all these details.
So if you remember from the October show, she was Freddie, correct? Foxy, thank you. It was Foxy.
Look at the beautiful
And now
details.
she's...
And we noticed all the seam lines on here are put there intentionally. There's so much patterning just to get this shape. It's not easy to make that shape. Any kind of ball shape takes a special skill to get that just right, to get that basketball as opposed to an egg. So it takes a lot of skill. And there's servos, if you see the eyes are blinking and moving. It's just amazing. 18. I want to know, where are you going from here?
There's the belt, there's the prize. All right, so it's going to get to the point where you guys are just going to become judges. I'm just saying. I mean, every time is a winner. One more round of applause. Mystic Cosplay. All right, we're going to get all the winners and the judges on stage for photos. All of you folks, you know we've got a Spooky coming up in August in South Carolina. We have Spooky happening in October over at the Hyatt Regency. But I want everybody to stand up. Stand up. Stand up. And our photographers will take a picture of our last Spooky here at the Wyndham. I want everyone to face our photographers right here. Hands up. We're just going to do a big goodbye.